You can't see anything yet, except for the surface.
See little polyps growing on the edge of the sub.
Right.
There was something over there.
There was.
They're both the same, whatever it is.
And alright, so we are now completely underwater. Look at that, we're already 30 feet down below the ocean surface. If you want to know how deep we are at any time, look at these depth gauges. There's one up here by me, and one in the back on the other side. Those will tell you how deep we are at all times. So I'm going to introduce you real quickly to who's working with you today. My name is Jamin. I'm going to be talking your ear off, giving you information about the fish and the different structures we're going to see today. Up front with me, we have our pilot, Captain Reb. He's going to be driving this submarine around, getting us nice and close to the structures, but not too close. And assisting with that, we have our co-pilot, Captain Stu. He's in the back there. He's acting as a second pilot, as our submarine is 101 feet long. Captain Reb can't really see what's going on back there, so he wants to get a nice and close with that. And finally, the last friend I want to introduce you to is right out your window. It is the deep blue ocean. And if you look down, you can actually see the bottom of the ocean. And over here on the starboard side, which is the right-hand side if you're looking forward, you can actually see some of our first structures. Don't worry, port side, you guys are going to get to see yours. Now, I just used a couple terms, port and starboard. Those are the nautical terms for right and left, because if I told you to look to your left right now, you would see a person, not a fish. So, where I am standing over here, this side is the starboard side. This is the right-hand side if you're facing the front of the boat. That means over here, the left-hand side, if you're facing the front, is the port side. And I will be using these terms throughout the tour so that we don't get confused on which side things are on. But as I said, starboard side, you guys are actually seeing some ancient history here. These are the ruins of the very first ABC stores. So if you guys see little fossilized trinkets, maybe a shirt that says I love Hawaii. No, these are actually the first structures we put down here in 1989. I call them the Great Pyramids of Honolulu. Port side should be some coming into your view shortly. I see them in our pilot's viewport. We're going to line up. Now, don't worry on which side you guys are on. Everyone will get to see all of our structures today. If we go past the singular object, we will do 180-degree turn and go past the same object on the other side of the boat so that everyone gets to see all of our structures today. But again, if you start to look down here, you guys can see our Great Pyramids of Honolulu. They're built in collaboration with University of Hawaii at Manoa, and they are concrete and PVC. Now, if you notice, there's not too many corals growing on the concrete. That's because the type of concrete we used was too acidic and didn't allow the corals to attach to it. However, it did really good at attracting fish. And so those are the two main reasons to bring them down here, was to attract fish and attract coral. And it did one of those very well. But we're going to make our way over to our next set of reefs. And that's because when the rock was originally formed, they got covered in a layer of algae, making it so that no corals could grow on it. However, once we started bringing structures down here, we increased the fish population by 3,000%. And that means the fish came over here, discovered this rock that was covered in algae, and started eating all the algae off of it, allowing the corals to attach to the lava rock. Now, lava rock is one of the best materials for corals to grow on because it's nice and solid, and it's also a natural material. Alrighty, we're going to go ahead and begin to make one of our many 180-degree U-turns today. And as we do, I'm going to let you guys know a couple of facts about our submarine. So as I mentioned earlier, our submarine is 101 feet long. It is propelled by 6 different thrusters. 2 up here in the front, 2 in the back. Those are our forward, back, left, and right thrusters. Then we have 2 more in the middle. Those are our vertical thrusters, making it so that we can stay down here. All 6 of those combine to give us a top speed of 3 miles an hour. That's right, we can go 3 miles an hour in this baby. We can also do 4 if we're going downhill with a tailwind. But 3 is about as fast as we want to go. And actually, if we go any faster, we scare all the fish away. Because, as I say, speed is the enemy of observation. But as I said, we are going to spin around here. And all of our submarine is powered by electricity. We are completely self-contained, and we have about 240 volts of electricity going to all those different thrusters. And you guys are actually sitting on the batteries. I know, it's shocking. Now every day we will tow it back to Honolulu Harbor, where we will go to our slip and plug it in every night. And then usually we remember to do that. I wasn't here last night, so I'm not sure if we did that. But again, we'll be in for a shocking surprise if we don't. Dead, rotten, burned fish and soy sauce sinking in the harbor. Honolulu was thrilled that we wanted to sink it out here. Anyone know how much we bought San Pedro for? $1. Yep, $1. That's as much as it cost to acquire the San Pedro, or the teriyaki boat. It then cost us another $300,000 to sink it down here. Because we wanted to sink an environmental habitat, not an environmental hazard. Let's see, there's still that turtle still hanging out in the belly of the ship there.
Way down at the bottom.
Again, they like to go to sleep on the...
What species are those?
Those are some ugly looking fish, aren't they? Their Latin name is Scubus divus. You can actually see some divers on the starboard side, port side, sorry. Say, those are the world's ugliest fish. Latin name Scubus divus. Now I also see some of the Hawaiian state fish out there. Anyone know how to say the Hawaiian state fish's name? I hear the start of it. It is the Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua'a. Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua'a. Now that's a pretty long name for a fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, that's not the longest fish name. There's one that's longer. It's the La Wili Wili Nuku Nuku Oi Oi. The Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua'a is longer than the La Wili Wili Nuku Nuku Oi Oi by 2 letters. Now if we were to translate La Wili Wili Nuku Nuku Oi Oi into English, it would translate to small fish with a long nose. Whereas if we were to translate the Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua'a into English, it would translate to small fish with a pig-like nose. In English, we call the La Wili Wili Nuku Nuku Oi Oi the long-nosed butterfly, or the forceps butterfly. And we call the Huma Huma Nuku Nuku Apua'a the reef triggerfish, wedge-tailed triggerfish, or the Hawaiian state fish. Can you guys tell I love saying those names? Alrighty. Again, starboard side, we're seeing the Japanese reefs. If you guys see some of those schools of bigger fish, maybe they're kind of silver or charcoal gray, those are actually the juvenile black, or not black, well they can get there, but juvenile giant trevallies. or ulua. Now they're the top predator on our dive site. They are so territorial and aggressive, they will attack our white-tip reef sharks. They've even been known to attack scuba divers and freedivers. There have been reports of people coming back with broken ribs because of those fish. Now again, those are the small ones. The world record ever caught was as big as me at 6 feet, 191 pounds. Caught off the coast of Maui. Alright, so we're going to do a spin. So the past few reefs, we've been heading parallel to the shore, back and forth. Now we're going to do a 90-degree turn and head offshore. Head out to deeper water. Dum dum dum. And so again, we've been running about 80 feet right now. We're gonna run to the deepest part of our dive. You guys want to go down to 100 feet below the ocean surface? All right. Because if you guys do, you guys will be the next to join the Triple Digit Club. Now, only 1/10 of 1% of people can say that they have been 100 feet below the ocean surface. Because I mean, you gotta think like there's what 88 billion people on this planet. Who goes 100 feet? Us in the submarine, the Navy, scuba divers, sometimes the people in the mafia. They just have a hard time getting back up. They got special shoes for that. But here we are. We're at 94 feet. And we're actually looking for a reef down here. It'll be over here on starboard side first. But as we get down, we're at 97 feet. 98. 99. 100!
Hey.
You guys are now the newest members of the Triple Digit Club. And starboard side, we have our next reef. These are Mitsubishi YS-11 airplane wings. And a big ulua.
Look at that one. Several of them.
Now these are, as I said, Mitsubishi YS-11s. And they are they were passenger carrying aircraft, about 60 passengers, and they would puddle jump, so island hoppers. And we bought them from Mid-Pacific Air. We originally sank them in 60 feet of water, but then in 1992, Hurricane Iniki came through, picked up our airplanes off the bottom, tumbled them all the way around, and dropped them in about where they are now. Strewing wreckage everywhere. We were picking up wreckage for 3 months. We couldn't even find the planes for 2 weeks. So again, they were originally placed kind of closer to where we were. Port side, you guys are going to have viewers coming in just a second. Here it is. What was that noise? That was our trumpet fish. That's the long, skinny one with what looks like a long nose. That's actually his mouth. He can completely swallow fish whole. Let's see. I see some of those millet seed butterfly again. Those are the yellow fish with a black dot at the base of their tail. Get an example of a native species here in Hawaii. And there's actually a white-tip reef shark. There's a reef shark. If you guys want to peek over your shoulder, you guys can barely see the silhouette. He's blending really well in with the plane, in the shadow of the plane. There's a white-tip reef shark down there. He's on the bottom. It's really hard to see. You could just barely see the silhouette of him. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and lift ourselves up off the bottom and head over to our next set of reefs. As we do, you guys may see some seemingly random cinder blocks or a piece of concrete or something that looks like a landmine. Don't worry, it's not a landmine, but a landmark. Now, our pilots have no GPS down here. GPS runs on the same type of signal as cell does. So as we have no cell, we have no GPS. meaning that our pilots have to navigate solely on visual aids like those bricks and a compass. And our pilots are so experienced that they can be dropped anywhere in our dive site, and they will know where they are if they see one of those bricks and what heading they need to go to on their compass to get where they need to be. And let's see, port side, you guys get to see our next reef first here. This is the YO257. This is a retired military ship that served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And there's two turtles hanging out on the stern of the YO257. Those are Hawaiian green sea turtles.
They are sizable. Yeah, they're bigger than Pablo. That's the size I was.
Again, this is the YO257. YO stands for Yard Oiler. Basically a giant floating gas station that all the smaller ships would come up to, dock, and refuel. That's some of the piping and nozzles you can see right here. Now this thing is 165 feet long. It's one of the biggest reefs in the Hawaiian Islands. Again, it served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam.
Like an open ocean over here.
No, so we put it down here at about, so all of our reefs that you see today, we intentionally sank everything down roughly where it is with the exception of planes. Alright, so as you guys, as we do our turn here, you guys may notice some of the colors aren't as vibrant as you were expecting on our reefs. They're kind of a dullest brown or a maroon. And so like National Geographic, they have all the colors. They have the bright colors of the reef. That's because what they do is they come down with an artificial light source and shine on the reef. For those, if you're wearing red, you can see this very well. Take a look at your red shirt. If you're wearing red, it's kind of a maroon or brown. I have the American flag here, up here. You guys can tell that those stripes that should be red are not. That's because of a thing called color absorption. As we go down, the red light is filtered out by the water. However, if I were to bring an artificial light source that's filtered out only by the air of the cabin and shine it on the flag, the stripes would be right back to red. Now again, that's why our reefs aren't as colorful as you would expect. And as I said, National Geographic, they come down, bring big floodlights just off camera, and light up the reef. Now, if we were to do that with our submarine, we do this dive 6 or 7 times a day. So that would harm the corals that we're trying to foster the growth for. It would provide them too much artificial light and kill them. That's why we don't do that. And it also gives you guys a realistic view of what it actually looks like down here. Alrighty, I can see the YO257 coming into our pilot's viewport, so it should be up here on the starboard side in about 20 seconds.
What do you think?
It's neat.
It's neat.
Oh, yeah.
You see if this camera does it different.
Here it is, the YO257. Now, if you see those white fish in the main belly turtle, I don't see one over here. Hopefully the two on the front should still be there. I'm not seeing one. But if you guys see those white fish with orange around the edges of their face and their tail, those are called pyramid butterfly. And they're an example of an indicator species here in Hawaii, meaning that they only live on the healthy reefs. and they're one of the first to go if the reef starts to go bad. So seeing them all here is a really good indicator that we have a very healthy reef.
Wow, look at all this shit.
And let's see. And there! Hey, there's a turtle. There's one. There's two. There's still two turtles hanging out on the stern.
Yeah, okay.
Wild.
Just laying on the surface. Yeah, okay.
Wild.
Just laying on the surface.
And they're huge.
They're huge. They're huge.
Alrighty, guys. So again, that was the YO257. We're going to make our way over to our next reef. And it's another sunken ship. And it's just right around the corner from where we were. And it's actually called the San Pedro. It was a Japanese built, Korean owned. And they called it the San Pedro. Makes sense to me. But if you guys want to take a look over your shoulder here, port side, you want to take a look at the Pedro one more time. We're going to make our way over to our surfacing area after this. So again, this is the San Pedro. I see some more of those yellow tangs. Those fish can actually live 20 to 30 years old. And you can still see that turtle kind of, same one, again, taking their nap. And if you guys see those skinny yellow fish, those are called ta'ape, or blue striped snapper. They're an example of a invasive species here in Hawaii. They were originally brought over from Tahiti, and then they were going to be commercially fished. And in Tahiti they grow nice and big and they're really tasty. Here they didn't grow as big and nor were they as tasty. So now they're just kind of here. We have those hatches, a couple 1,000 pounds of lead that is movable to make it so that we're not dragging our nose or dragging our tail. Keeps us nice and level. All of that, and we still bob like a cork on the surface. We have to have those pumps, they're called water ballast pump tanks, that they're below us, and they will we will pump in different amounts of water depending on how many people we have. Now we also have a bunch of air tanks above our head, and we have 8 of those. And then when the time comes for us to go under, they're full of air, and then we empty them and go down to where we can get our vertical thrusters to begin to go down. But those tanks, usually they're either full or they're empty. And the way we empty them when we're under the water is we have a couple of high pressure scuba tanks, or basically giant scuba tanks, that we blast the air into those upper tanks, and it clears all the water out. So you'll hear that. So that's our blowing the ballast tanks. But port side, here it comes. The San Pedro. You can see a couple of our la wili wili nuku nuku oi ois hanging out there.
Yeah. Say that again.
If you guys see those bigger black fish with a bright stripe running through their fins, those are called black durgeon. They're a triggerfish, and triggerfish are actually one of the only species that can swim backwards. Let's see if we get clearance to surface.
That's 14 to come. Your boat, that's clear of all surface traffic. Your clear surface, and 9 after.
Copy, clear surface 9 after. Isolating coming up.
Alrighty, so we got that clearance to surface. So we're going to isolate our vertical thrusters, and then we are going to blow our ballast tanks, making it so that we rocket our way up to the surface safely. This is in fact the fastest part of our dive. This is the only ways we can go any faster than 3 miles an hour is straight up. But here we go, you guys can see the color is going to start to return soon. And watch those depth gauges. Once they hit 20 feet, our mast will be poking out, and I will welcome you from there. There it is, 21, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the surface. Can we give a big round of applause for Captain Rim for an excellent dive today? Alrighty guys, give us just a few moments while we open up these hatches and get you guys able to disembark. We will let you know when that happens. Just a few moments to do that.